I am. Yeah, I'll take it to you. You want me to introduction at the beginning? I got a couple slides. So I got 3 or 4 after you. Thanks.
Wasn't that? Sometimes we do things just right. I guess I'm done for the year.
Okay. All good? Okay, let's go ahead and call tonight's meeting to order. If able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pape,
Here.
Councilmember Shavetta,
Here.
Councilmember Kosmeyer,
Here.
Councilmember Hands,
Here.
Councilmember Caldwell,
Here.
Councilmember Leahy,
Here.
Councilmember Ryder,
Here.
Councilmember Silvers,
Here.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, next item up is public items. Members of the public are encouraged to use this time to make comments about matters directly related to the city's programs and services. Comments related to a matter or topic on the city council agenda that is subject to a public hearing should be provided during the scheduled public hearing and not during the public comment period. Please note individuals making public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. The city reserves the right to refuse public comments which are inconsistent with the parameters established within the governing bodies and rules and procedures. I do have a sign-up sheet that does have a couple people on it, and I'll call those individuals first. Wait a minute, this is, city council sign-up sheet. Yep. Yeah, I have 2 sheets, but I guess we're going with the white one. I don't know why we had 2. The first individual up this evening would be Judy Snyder. If you.
I must have signed on the wrong sheet.
Oh, did you? Okay. Are you? You wanted to come up during public comments for the later? Okay, gotcha. Not a problem. How about Lynn Germander?
Well, yeah, I thought we assigned that we're attending.
Just the blue
Oh,
sheet.
okay.
Just
No,
the blue sheet.
Just the blue sheet. Okay, gotcha. So this was this was just a sign-in sheet to say you were here. Well,
Yes.
no problem. Thank you. Is there anybody that would like to come up and speak during public comments? Come forward, sir. Name and address for the record.
Billy Crone, 6633 Wed Street. So last week, city staff or city government employees or contractors illegally placed at least 9 signs throughout our city promoting a city event that's coming up. It's good to get more visibility into that event and have more people attend. That's great. But these signs were placed in places that would block the right-of-way, that would block the view of people pulling out of driveways and cause a safety hazard in our city. Now, I'm glad that they've been moved. But I want to know who ordered them to be placed, where they were, and when, and how much was spent on those signs. I have asked that, haven't gotten an answer back. Secondly, I noticed on our agenda today there is an intent to exceed last year's budget, and that just blows my mind, Bob, because on the 8th, you told me straight to my face that you never raised taxes, we're not raising taxes, but here we are exceeding the previous year's budget. You're calling it by a different name, but that's what you're doing. So if your intent is not to raise taxes, then don't, how do you phrase it? Don't approve your intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else who'd like to come up this evening and speak? Please come forward at this time. Okay, I see no one coming forward. All right, well, we'll close out the public forum section. And the next item up this evening is consent agenda. All items listed under this heading are considered to be routine by the City Council, may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the council member so requests, in which case that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Now, we do have numerous items on our consent this evening. Is there anyone that would like to have any one item removed? See nothing that way? Nothing that way. Okay. Well, if there's nothing removed, I would entertain a motion. Go ahead, Mr. Silvers.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that the council approve consent agenda items 1 through 6.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Ms. Showers.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye. Aye.
Councilmember Kozmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item up this evening is the mayor's report. And the first item on the mayor's report is a proclamation. You guys know how I love proclamations. This one's kind of special because it involves 250 years that we've been a country. So let me just read this real quick. Whereas in the year 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, asserting the right of the 13 American colonies to self-governance and freedom from British rule. And whereas the bold dedication laid the foundation for a new nation built on the principles of liberty, democracy, and justice. And whereas over the past 250 years, the United States of America has grown from a fledgling republic to a global superpower, continually striving to uphold these foundational ideals. And whereas in the year 2026, the United States will commemorate its 250th anniversary, also known as the semi-quincentennial, and whereas this occasion offers a unique opportunity to reflect on the nation's journey, celebrate its achievements, and envision its future, and whereas as we commemorate this significant milestone, Americans should work together in addressing the challenges of the 21st century and building a more equitable and prosperous society. And whereas nationwide celebrations and events will be organized to engage and inspire citizens from all walks of life, these activities will include historical reenactments and exhibits, parades, and festivals, that's easy to say, public discussions and forums, and community service initiatives. And whereas, as the United States embarks on the next chapter of its history, this milestone celebration will attend a testament to the strength, resilience, and determination of its people. Now be it proclaimed that the city of Merriam, Kansas does hereby recognize and celebrate, therefore, the 250th anniversary of the nation's independence, and we acknowledge the contributions of diverse communities in shaping our nation's identity, and pledge to continue fostering an environment of mutual respect and understanding. Proclaim this 22nd day of June, 2026, Bob Pape, Mayor. I don't think we're presenting this to you one sitting over, Madam Clerk, but it's presented to all of you. So, okay, thank you. All right. Looks like next item up is on the Mayor's Report, it's a life-saving award. Okay, assuming that you're going to give us the information on that.
Yeah, Chief McLaughlin couldn't be here tonight because he was not feeling well, so you guys get me.
Well, thank you.
Just real quick, and I'll explain this situation. We had a major event that happened back on the 5th or the 7th of May of this year. It was a very noteworthy event that involved a couple of our officers on midnight shift. On May the 7th, 2026, Officer John Mall and Sergeant Christian Jasinski were sent to a serious crash that happened on northbound I-35 and Johnson Drive. Officer Mall arrived with Sergeant Jasinski and found the front end of a vehicle that was on fire and a single occupant that was unconscious in the driver's seat. Without hesitation, both Officer Mall and Sergeant Jasinski approached the vehicle as the fire began to grow and successfully removed the driver from the vehicle through the driver's window and dragged him to safety. Their immediate response to the scene and extremely brave actions undoubtedly saved the driver's life. We've got a video of this that I want to show you guys. It's a body cam video from Officer Mall's body camera that shows when both officers arrived at the scene. This is about 1 o'clock in the morning when this happened, so it was pretty dark out. But if you want to go ahead and play the video, and you guys can see it, and I'll talk a little bit more afterwards. The sound will kick in just a second.
Oh, my goodness.
So thankfully, the guy wasn't seriously injured. But I watched the video after that, and if you go, and just within probably 2 to 3 minutes after they pulled him out of the burning vehicle, the whole entire front half of the vehicle was just engulfed in flames. And the fire department got there very quickly as well. But as you know, as we all know, Mayor, when it's they're responding after the fact, and it takes them a few extra minutes longer to get there. Officer Mall and Sergeant Jasinski didn't hesitate, got there in a very quick time, and both of them just jumped right into action. I'm full belief that if they wouldn't have been there, they wouldn't have been able to pull this guy out of the car, and he probably wouldn't have made it. So what they did was extraordinary, in my opinion. So I've got a couple certificates to give to them on behalf of the chief. So Mayor, if you want to come down, and Sergeant Jasinski and Mall, if you want to come up here, please. And this here is a life-saving award to Sergeant Jasinski and Officer Mall.
Some of us go a whole career not saving lives, but good job by the officers. Might be a firefighter job in their future, who knows? But, okay. Well, all right. Next, I'll let these people exit here for a startup. Thank you for coming. Okay, I'll try to make this quick, but I also like to talk a little bit about what I and other council members have been doing over the last couple of weeks. I attended the Johnson County Wyandotte County Mayor's monthly dinner meeting. We were accompanied by several of our state legislators, both the House and Senate side. They gave us updates on what occurred at the state level. They shared how they voted and what was vetoed by the governor and things that were in committee that never made it out of committee. So probably be coming back this next session. I and council member attended the Brown Memorial Park Friday Family Fun Night. I like to call it Party in the Park. Great food, fellowship, games, and music were had. Great turnout. There were so many people there that we ran out of hot dogs. I think it's important to recognize that we celebrated Juneteenth as a national holiday. We had flags flying at City Hall in recognition of the end of slavery. I and a council member attended a block party in Ward 3. Big discussions occurred in regards to the 75th Street Bridge still being closed and the amount of traffic going through their neighborhood. They do appreciate the additional patrols, Major, about going over in their department, over in their neighborhood itself with the increased traffic that they're having and the curtailing of speeding that you guys have been doing over there. That was mentioned, so I told them I'd pass that on. On the council member 10-day Flags for Freedom meeting, we are ready for another great event. Coming up this week, that was things that had occurred, but I wanted to at least give a briefing on stuff that's coming up because there's a lot of stuff happening this week. Merriam Business Appreciation Happy Hour at 30 Hop is on Wednesday, the 24th at 4 p.m. On Thursday, the 25th, we will be marking the flag field at 8 a.m. down at Farmers Market. Please come down and give us a hand if available. That Thursday evening at 6 p.m., we'll be hosting a public house for the public to ask questions and get answers and to give feedback about their vision for downtown Merriam. Some of the Downtown Vision Committee members may be present. Feel free to interact with them and directly share your thoughts. On Saturday, the 27th, we will be erecting the flags at the Farmers Market at 8 a.m., and we can use help at that event as well. The flags will be up until Monday, July 6th, and we can use help removing them at 5 p.m. that evening. Don't forget to attend the July 4th celebration at the Farmers Market at 2 p.m. There will be a patriotic band playing as we celebrate our country's 250th anniversary. That's what I had. Is there anything I missed from the council that I should have included that I missed? Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, well, I don't have anything else from the mayor's reports. We'll close out that and move on to the next item. And that would be I guess the first item up for the council is consider an approval of a development agreement. We got Mr. Engel coming to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, oh, it's up there. All right. I'm good. Sorry, we just updated the AV in here, so things look a little bit different. Can I go full screen on that? I guess we don't need to. All right, thank you, Mayor, Council. Next item on your agenda is a pretty exciting opportunity for a public-private partnership for one of our key development areas, which is Mariam Town Center. As you are aware, we started these conversations with the ownership group in late 2023 when the council accepted and entered into a funding agreement to research the possibilities of creating this public-private partnership. After many negotiations, discussions, and continued progress at that center, we believe that we've found a agreement that strikes the right tone between what would be considered a win for our community, what would be considered a win for the owners of the center, and we are here to present it to you this evening. Despite what the agenda says, I'm going to share with you kind of the rundown of how these several agenda items will occur tonight. Well, they are presented on the agenda and in the agenda packet as individual items with individual motions for each of those. We're actually going to just roll through all of those and all of the presentations all at once, conduct the public hearing, and then roll the votes. So again, first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to share a little bit of information in terms of at least purpose. Why have we having, yes, sir?
Just a question. Will we discuss the merits of the CID as part of the presentation before or after the public hearing?
There'll be an opportunity before the public. We can answer any questions anytime you have them.
Right.
Feel free to raise your hand, ask questions, however the mayor would like to conduct the meeting. But yeah, we can, there's space in here for before the public hearing and well, let me run through here and I'll show you. Okay, so the purpose, we'll discuss the why, what we think the purpose is of entering into a public-private partnership with the developer or the owner, presentation of the project by the developer, presentation of the documents. If this public-private partnership is going to move forward, there's a series of documents that the council would need to consider, so we'll address each one of those. There'll be council questions before the public hearing. However, those questions can be taken however you'd like, or however is most appropriate to the governing body. We will then conduct a public hearing where the public will get the opportunity to share their comments about the project. Then we'll have some wrap-up questions from the council, and then we'll just roll the votes. Did that answer your question? Okay. Quick, just some introductions that I want to do. I want to introduce Bob Johnson, Michael Johnson, Eric Gonsher, and Andrew Kovar, their attorney. I want to acknowledge David Waters, who who unfortunately couldn't be here. He's at Boy Scout camp. I also want to acknowledge Jacob Lowry with Kutek Rock, our bond counsel, Jeff White, who couldn't be here because he is actually on the West Coast working out of a different office, the city attorney, and then Brian Dyer, community development director, who again wouldn't be able to do any of these things if it wasn't for him continually, his diligence in making sure that we dot I's and cross T's. So I do want to acknowledge him, especially at the staff level. If we don't have any questions about the agenda for the evening, I thought we'd just jump into the purpose, kind of the why. Like, why would we do this? What are the points of getting into this? And I think the first thing is to mention the Comp Plan 2040. That is our land use plan. That is our 2040 comprehensive plan. During that process that was approved by the council with feedback from the public, Merriam Town Center was identified as a key node, a key area of the city. If you'll recall, there were several concepts that were adopted as part of the 2040 plan, each of them a different intensity of use, meaning how far they depart from what the center looks like today to what perhaps we would like it to look like in 2040. This is concept 3. The reason I shared concept 3 is if you can read that at the bottom, concept 3 is the preferred option. However, I'm going to read this. This is a long-term vision and is recommended to develop incrementally as funding and development partnerships form. So clearly based on our comprehensive plan that's been adopted by the council with input from our public, this is where 2040 wants us to go in this direction. Does it mean it's going to look like this? Not necessarily, but this is the general direction the land use plan wants us to go. But I think it's important that we acknowledge that this is not city-owned property, and it will require partnerships, as it says, development partnerships. That's what we're here tonight to discuss. Development partnership that gets us closer to the density of use, intensity of use of the 2040 plan. Next, another thing that we use, we've seen this before, we like to put this up because this is like a checklist of all the cool stuff that we do. This is from our resident survey of May of 2024. We asked the question about downtown, public art, yard waste burning, citywide recycling, and there at the bottom, Merriam should try to bring a grocery store to town, even if it requires giving a store a multi-million-dollar public incentive package. 58% strongly agreed with that statement, and when asked to prioritize, 52% said it was the highest or the second highest priority that we should be incentivizing a grocery store. So again, we have some feedback from land use planning, we have some feedback from our residents, and then something a little bit closer in terms of decisions that have been made in February 26th of this year. City Council goals and objectives were approved. We have 4 broad goals. City Council goal number 4 is maintain economic vitality. We have several priorities in there. Priority 1, provide support to existing businesses. Mariam Town Center, the ownership of Mariam Town Center, those are all existing businesses. Priority number 2, expand the commercial tax base. Under priority 2, we have, actually under all priorities, we have several measures to help accomplish those priorities. Measure B under priority 2 is utilize the incentive toolbox to support redevelopment in key areas of the city. We already discussed the key area of the city being Mariam Town Center. Incentive toolbox, we're here to talk about using that. And then priority 4, promote a diverse revenue structure and maintain adequate reserves. I'm sure we all are very appreciative, and because of our pull factor, appreciate and understand the value of our auto dealerships, but if gas goes to $6 a gallon or they start inventing cars that fly or things like that and we don't have a dealership for it, it's going to be important that we have a diversity of uses in our sales tax pool. So again, all of these are great reasons for why we are having this conversation. We think it's important to have the conversation in the public at the council level to discuss the merits of it. That being said, do you have any questions about the why, the purpose, any comments about that? Because if not, I'm going to introduce Bob Johnson, the president of R.H. Johnson, the owner of the center.
Any questions, Mr. Engel, before we turn it over to Ms. Johnson? Okay. All right. I'll let you introduce Mr. Johnson.
All right. Mr. Johnson, arrow to the right.
Good.
We'll take you through your presentation.
Thank you, Chris. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, pleasure to be with you all tonight. I would like to introduce Andrew Clower, our attorney, and Mike Johnson and Eric Gonscher from our office. All 3 of us have been very busy the last 4 years working on the Mariam Town Center and trying to get to the point where we are tonight so we can continue our journey. And so as I mentioned, we purchased the center 4 years ago At the point, it was 23 years old, and so it'd be close to 27 now. And our goal is to improve the property, which would include upgrades to the existing buildings, add additional retail, upgrade the common areas, which is everything except the building, to include more customer-friendly, both customer-friendly tenants as well as amenities in the parking lot and the green space, increase the green space. And finally, as Chris mentioned, add additional retailers to the center. And we'll look at our master plan, which we've kind of been through. That is evolving all the time, and we're very confident that things will continue to improve here. I would say that since in the 4 years that we've been here, and part of it's based, obviously, that was right after COVID, but sales are up in almost every tenant in the center. There's always a few that are not going to keep up, but we've had some very nice increases, both from new and as well as older tenants. And so we like the position it's in now, but now it's a time to make these additional improvements for the future, because the property is, 26, 27 years old, and we want to stay on top of things and add these amenities in the future. The other thing was, I kind of forgot, to increase the walkability of the center. We've got some plans to do that. Well, it'll take a little bit of time on that because we've got leases with 15 to 20 tenants in the center that have us adhering to a certain site plan, so we'll need to work through those. But we've done that before. It just takes time, and we think it's for the betterment of the entire project. So we appreciate the Chris and his team and Brian, all the work that they've done on this, getting this to present to you tonight. We think it's a good document for both sides and allows us to continue our efforts to improve the property. They also think we've addressed, as Chris just mentioned on the survey, we been working with a supermarket to come into the property, and we're proud to announce that we've signed a lease contingent on Community Improvement District participation with Aldi to locate in the center, and they're going to open a 24,000 square foot store, which is the biggest and newest, obviously newest, but also the biggest Aldi in the Kansas City metropolitan area. If you've been in their new stores, we've opened one other one in the Northland, but there's been three, one in Overland Park, one up north at I-29, that have opened in the last 2 years, and they really provide a great service, and meat department, produce department, as well as canned goods, box goods, and they're great operators and very strong financially. So we think it will fit in to the community. They're excited about it, and we're looking forward to getting them under construction as soon as we can complete the contingencies for their lease. So those are my points, and if you have any questions about anything with the center, we would be glad to answer them and take notes. If there's things we can improve on, we want to do that. I would say we get excellent community involvement and both criticisms and congratulations on things that we've been doing. We're continuing our year of improvements to parts of the parking lot, and this year we've just completed the parking lot work there. Landscaping has been in good shape. We're pleased with the contractor we have, but we can always do better. And overall, the merchants in the center, the owners of the businesses, have been very successful, and we appreciate the police has been very, very good. We've also donated a section of the parking lot for the World Cup parking. So that sounds like that's going to probably, I think they've been closed the last couple of days, but we're looking forward to that, as well as the 4th of July celebration. Thank you.
Just a minute, Mr. Johnson. Does anybody have any questions, Mr. Johnson? Go ahead, Mr. Silvers.
I actually don't have a question. I just have a couple statements. First of all, I'm really excited to hear about this Aldi. I think this gives our residents an even greater selection of grocery options in our community, and I think that can only benefit them. I've also been watching over the past couple of years you and your company doing mill and overlay on your parking lot, which has been really nice to see that maintenance and repair. And finally, I do walk your length of your parking lot all the time when I go from my house to the community center. And so I'm very much looking forward to the walkability aspect of your development plan. And I'm glad to see that it's going to be slated for early on in the development.
Right.
So thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
Redevelopment, I should say.
Thank you. Oh, I do have a few slides. Let me,
Okay, well, let's hold the questions for now and then. Okay.
let me just, there's about 4 or 5 here, and let's see. To the right? Okay, there's the center. Just to point out several things we discussed. The center starting with Marshall's on the south, going up to Centermark on the north. You can see there's 4 orange buildings, 2 in front of Ross and PetSmart. Those are 2 10,000 square foot retail areas that you'll never see people parking in those areas. There's an abundance of parking. Like I mentioned before, every one of our tenants has a site plan which they have to adhere to, and we also have to adhere to the same site plan. So these things take, and unfortunately, the previous developer did not reserve that area for future buildings. So we've got to go back and get approvals for those 2. Then we have 2 more on the north, one just north of Dick's. There's some open land there. And we've looked at a number of different retailers to go in there. We're still working. We'll get there with that one. We want the right one to be there. That's about a 25,000, 30,000 square foot. We probably could expand that a little bit more. So we got some flexibility there. And then over on the Antioch side, you see the orange building there. That's future. We've got some, that's one area that we're proposing a possible charging station, electric charging station. But we've got a couple other areas, and we're working on that project right now. Okay, we put this in here. This is the Aldi, proposed Aldi store. It's 24,000 square feet. The reason we're showing this to you is the extensive amount of rehabilitation and reconstruction has to be done to that building. The roof and the walls will stay, but almost everything else will be redone because you've got unique refrigeration and electrical, much more electrical than you would in a regular retail store. And it will, obviously, we're redoing the front and a lot of partitions on the inside, mainly in the meat and fresh area of the store. But everything like the dock on the back side will stay. The entrance on the front side obviously will stay. It'll be redone, and then it should work out very well. They'll do a really good job with that. Next one is the transit. We've been working with Johnson County Transit on this, on and off. We really haven't gotten an indication because there's been some change in bus service and bus lines and so forth. So we hope to continue. We've offered to continue to work with them to have a climate protected, won't be climate controlled, but it'll be climate protected, somewhat similar to this, depending on the number of riders and so forth. The next one is the charging stations. There's 4 or 5 vendors that we've been working with. I think we're down to 2 now. There's been a lot of, it was probably easier to do it 3 or 4 years ago when electric car sales were better, but still there's, you look around and we have a lot of other centers in the community that have either Tesla stations or independent stations. And so we're working with them right now. We're very confident we'll get something done there. The reason we like it in the shopping center, first of all, it serves a great purpose. Second of all, it takes 15 to 45 minutes to charge your car, so you're going to go shop. So that's our retailers love that, because if you start shopping, you're probably going to stay an hour. So that means they'll visit more than one store. This is one thing that we have a long, narrow piece of ground here, obviously. So I'd say 60 to 70% of our customers come in off of Johnson Drive. And where you can't really even see the theater back there, you can barely see Dick's. In fact, I don't think you can from right there. Once you come up the hill, you can. But what we have found that they call this wayfinding. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this. This is just an example. But we're going to put 3 or 4 of these signs on the main traffic way to kind of remind people of that there is a theater back there and Dick's and the small shops back there. And we think it's been very effective in other properties where you've got a long, narrow piece of property. This is kind of one of we have 3 different tranches, I would say, for this whole project, 3 different phases. This is the 3rd one, is to go back and modify the exterior elevations. This is just an architectural sketch. We don't have anything yet because it's really not, this is the least important in our opinion, working with our clients. It looks pretty good today, but it's going to need, just the age of the center is going to need some freshening up, and that's just kind of a first sketch of what we anticipate. And then there's kind of a combination. The other thing we want, I mentioned the 2 buildings, the 10,000 square foot buildings in front of Ross and Bob's Discount Furniture. See on the right side, if we're going to, we'd like to have some casual dining in the center, such as that, but also places where people can, benches and a park-like setting. That's kind of our goal there to achieve in the future. And that's part of phase 1, along with the supermarket. And then there's the picture from north looking south, the key in the background. So that's the plan. Any other discussions, questions? Be glad to answer.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Johnson? Any this way? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay. Mr. Engel coming back forward.
All right, the next item on our agenda rundown is the documents. In order to formalize this public-private partnership, should the council choose to do so, we have a series of documents that would need to be approved, so I'm going to run down each of those 4 documents. Happy to answer any questions as we go through them or to hold until the end. First document is the one that is probably the most important. It is the overriding document that spells out all of the obligations that the city has to the developer and the developer has to the city, spells out the economics, all of the things that will hold each of us accountable to one another, and that is the development agreement. So summary of the redevelopment agreement was just shared with you, but a little bit different level of detail. Again, all of this is in your action form as well as in the contract. Project A is the grocery store. That is, per the development agreement, the only project that they are compelled to complete. All these other ones, we are incentivizing them to do. So the Project A is a grocery store. These are estimates. So the estimated budget that is within the agreement is $5.1 million. It would need to start within 1 year and be completed within 3 years. Project A Other, the second project, is about $8.7 million, and that is the improved circulation within the center, some green space, some additional landscape, connectivity, whether that be pedestrian or bike, some EV charging stations, as was shared before, a sign package that will be spread throughout the center, as well as a potential transit stop. So that is the second project. Again, I don't know if that's the order that the projects all get done in, but those are just, we've created a menu of projects for them to choose from, depending on the economics and what works best for them and their tenants. So this may not be the order that they get completed in. Project B, main center improvements, was shared facade, new facade or updated facade, some tenant improvements, specifically around Dick's and that area. There's some updated Dick's concepts that they're perhaps investigating, some internal finishings also to recruit and retain new tenants. And then the last 3 projects we've just kind of put all together. That's project C1 through C3. That is your new out parcels. That's about, again, estimate $11.1 million. That is new construction of 1, 2, or 3 new out parcels, which would be new businesses in the center, new to market, we would hope. That construction is going to range from 14 to 20,000 square foot. Again, this is all estimates, but that is the project summary as outlined in your redevelopment agreement, those 6 projects. So how the economics work. This is, again, we're going to assume that all these projects get done so we can it's the easiest way to digest all of this. We're not proposing that they would all get done. They may run out of time. The economy may change, things like that, other than the grocery store. But this is how we would assume all of these projects are going to be done. Be approximately a $32 million project with $25 million approximately being developer cost. Between 6.9, maybe $7 million would be reimbursed from the CIP. I'm sorry, from the CID if established. So CID would reimburse for documented project cost. If there are not projects that are completed, they don't get reimbursed. This is PAYGO, which we'll discuss a little bit later, the definition of PAYGO. But if the project doesn't get done, this is not just a money spigot that gets turned on. This is for the benefit of the district, not necessarily the developer. We're working with the developer to make these things happen to improve the district. So that is the economics of the dollars. Then there is industrial revenue bonds for a sales tax exemption, assuming that $32 million gets done and all of the materials would be sourced in Kansas. There'd be about a $3 million benefit of a sales tax exemption that they would not pay. So that would be the economics of the project. You've got the developer's cash stack or bonding capacity, the city approving a CID, which would come from the points of sale within the district, and then the industrial revenue bonds. I did want to talk a little bit about the percentages across all of the projects. Project A, grocery store. Project C, which is the out parcels. We have, as you can see, we've negotiate a 30% reimbursement rate on those. We believe that the grocery and the additional density meet what we shared earlier are the needs, wants, desires of the community. So therefore, we have incentivized them heavily, whereas the Project A, other Project B, we believe those are more in the win category for the community and for the district, but really those benefits go more directly to the developer. So you can see that we've pretty much telegraphed by those percentages what the level of importance is or the level of desirability to the community. Again, out parcels, grocery store, 30%, the internal circulation, sign package, facade, again, needed, great, would upgrade the center, and we would love to see all those things occur, but we have negotiated those down to a lower rate. Any questions about the economics?
Go ahead, Ms. Sanders.
The Project C out parcels 1 to 3, 30% across 1 to 3. Does that percentage fluctuate if we only have one out parcel that goes up instead of 3 out parcels that go up?
Each one of them would be 30%. So that is
Each one is 30%.
that's
So it's more the dollar amount that would change instead.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. We would reimburse 30% if they only build out parcel 1 and out parcel 1 costs
$2 million.
it would be 30% of that value. Yeah, but
Understood.
if they built all 3 of them, that's where you would get about the $3.3 million estimate of the CID.
Understood. Thank you for clarifying that.
Mr. Leahy, I think has a
Yeah,
question.
sorry.
I just wanted to point this out that I think I know the answer, but these are based on estimated costs, and we will be reviewing the receipts or some kind of auditing to make sure that we're only paying 30% of true cost, right?
Correct, yeah. As part of the CID process, and we'll get into that in a second, but yes, it's a reimbursement. It's a pay-go reimbursement. So only if funds are available and there are reimbursable costs that are spelled out within the development agreement as being allowable costs. Yes, sir. Civic involvement, as we do in all of our DAs per city policy, we ask that developers that we public-private partnership with be involved in the city and the things that make the city what it is, special. Annual membership in chamber, annual contribution to support Flags for Freedom, annual contributions for city rec scholarships at the community center, sponsorship of at least one city festival a year, and then construction of public art. Wanted to make sure that I'm clear on we've got two different numbers for the public art. So the council has a one, or at least is considering a 1% for the art project. That would be, for the first project, be about $5 million total for the project for the groceries. So we said $50,000, but because we want the art done early, we negotiated if it's done as part of the grocery store, because the grocery store gets a 30% discount, we would discount the $50,000 by 30%, if you're tracking with that. So if they do it with the first project, it's $35,000 for art. If they do it somewhere down the road, it's $50,000 for art. So I wanted to make sure I'm clear. But it does meet all of the requirements of our policy in terms of civic involvement. So we're appreciative of that. These annual contributions also have escalators in them each year. I think it's 2% each year. Again, we were talking about quite a horizon, timeline horizon. What $2,000 buys you in flags today, it may not buy you 15 years from now in flags. So we also negotiated some increases in those. Defaults. These would be how the agreement would default. We always look at these. These are things that we negotiate to make sure that we can hold each other accountable. The owners must commence the grocery shop within 1 year of approval and substantially complete it within 3 years of approval. We doubt that it will take that long, but that is what we have negotiated in the agreement. You never know what could happen. No CID reimbursement can occur until the grocery project is completed. So as they come in, they want to hand us receipts as the project is going along. Until it is completed, we will not reimburse anything.
Does that include a covenant to open?
It
says
does not
complete?
have a covenant to
Okay.
open in it. Yep. Unless they have a covenant to open. The city retains audit rights and reimbursement review authority, again, which we do with all of our incentive districts. Annual progress reports must be provided to the city, and the city can terminate the agreement or rescind the CID if project milestones are not met, meaning we've got 36 months from completion of this project to start the next one. If that doesn't happen, that milestone's not met, there's a default within the agreement if we don't come to some sort of common ground, perhaps that there's no reason, or they've made a choice. At some point in time, they could choose to say, hey, we're doing all we're going to do. The CID is not going, the juice isn't going to be worth the squeeze, as my predecessor used to say. So we're okay defaulting. If that's the case, we would pay off all of the reimbursables to that point that we would still, and then we would have a decision to shut the CID down. Any questions about the defaults?
Questions? Okay.
Last was just a development summary. We've got 6 potential projects. First one is a grocery store. About $32 million in total project cost. Again, these are estimates. $25 million in projected developer cost. About $7 million reimbursed by the CID. About 22% when you blend all of those reimbursement rates, it's about 22% that the city would be picking up, assuming all of the projects are done. Most importantly, per city policy, we are not doing the CID on the grocery store, so no one that shops at the Aldi will pay the CID tax, although the district will generate CID to help with the construction and the build out of that grocery store. You will shop without CID additional costs at the grocery. And then IRBs, Kansas sales tax exemption on construction materials would have a value, again, with a full build out of approximately $3 million. That's your development summary. Then the last thing is your exhibits. We've got 3 exhibits that are in there, and you will notice when we get to the motion that the motion allows the city administrator to, that these are substantially complete, but they're drafts. We don't know, we might 10 years from now decide that there's a piece of information we want on one of these certificates, and as opposed to have to come back and get it reapproved, we may want to go, what color is the grocery store going to be? But all of the exhibits are in there. They are substantially complete. The 3 exhibits that we're referencing are the certificate of activation. That is how we measure the timelines. When we get a certificate of activation, when one is complete, we give a certificate of completion. That is how we hold the developer accountable to the timeline. And then we've got certificate of project cost. So again, what's in the packet is substantially complete. I can't imagine they're going to change, but we don't know what information we're going to want 5, 10, 15 years from now. So those are your exhibits. Any questions about the development agreement?
Mr. Leahy?
Do we have language in there if they want to come back with a project D that's not clearly outlined and
We
negotiate
do, I
for
don't
a
remember
future
exactly
exhibit?
what the language says, but there is an ability for us to negotiate something else.
If there's a new concept that wasn't on the board that we wanted to add and
Yeah.
target the CID funds for?
If I recall it, it have to be mutually agreeable that it's something that we both want. Next is our community improvement district. So there we have a document for an ordinance establishing a CID. So we wanted to just kind of take it up to the schoolhouse level here real quick. What's a community improvement district? It's allowable by Kansas statute. It's an additional sales tax at a point of sale within the established district, and it reimburses. It's much more versatile than TIF. TIF just basically focuses on infrastructure. That is what we have used mostly for incentives and public-private partnership. CID is very, very versatile. It has a lot more uses that we can use to help improve whatever it is that we're trying to improve or advance in terms of incentives. CID pay as you go, we call it just pay-go. That essentially says that that only when the funding is available and it is held in a separate account, that we will see if there are reimbursables that are documented reimbursables, that they were allowable per the development agreement, and only then will we reimburse the developer for those costs, and only what we have. So if they submit $3 million worth of cost and we only have $400,000, we're only giving them $400,000. Now we still owe them $2.6 million, but we only are going to give them what has been generated within that CID account. So again, that is how pay-go works, as opposed to bonds, which I'm not going to go into bonds, but that would be that the CID proceeds would be pledged towards debt. That is not what we're doing. If there's not a project, if there's not funds, there's no money that'll change hands. This is just an illustration. I think we've all seen this before. This is what a merchant in the CID, this is effectively where the money goes. That top box is your regular 9.475%. That is charged at a point of sale, 6.5% going to the state, 1.475 going to the county, 1.5 going to the city. That will all still happen like it normally does. It will flow to all of those bodies as it normally does and will be used in however those bodies choose to use it. However, the CID by statute can go up to 2%. We're contemplating a 1%, but up to 2% would be an additional CID tax that would go into that special account that we would then reimburse the developer for eligible costs. So specifics of a Merriam Town Center CID is contemplated is it's pay-go CID. It's 1%. That would be 50 cents on a $50 receipt. Not on the grocery store, most importantly. Collections, if approved tonight, would begin on October 1st of 2026, and it would be up to 22 years. That's the statutory maximum. If there's a default or if a decision is made that we're done with projects or they're done with projects, it can be shut down before then. Per city policy, all CIDs are noticed at the point of sale in businesses within the CID. And the CID proceeds would reimburse the owners at a variable percentage. That's going to be somewhere between 10 and 30%. We'll monitor all those things internally. If all of this is approved, we are recommending that we set up a fund so we'll be able to source all of that in there, audit all of that, and track all of that within that CID account. Any questions? I think that's the last slide on that. Oh, and we've got the map. So the map is interesting. This is all the properties that are owned by R.H. Johnson. So what this is Merriam Town Center that excludes the Home Depot. So the Home Depot is not in there. It also does not have the IHOP or the Chili's down on the southeast corner. Neither of those are owned by R.H. Johnson. It excludes 5830 Antioch, which is the Office Max that is getting ready to go out of business. And it jumps down south of Johnson Drive and includes the McDonald's, the Taco Bell, and the Jimmy John's little strip mall that's right behind Quick Trip. That is the boundaries of the CID as contemplated this evening.
Mr. Leahy?
We assume this will also include the 3 out parcel buildings if and when they're built?
They would. Anything that comes in
Pending
there?
any change it. I mean,
Yep. Anything that comes in there that's in those boundaries would be included. Any questions about that? Okay, the next document is a a resolution of intent to issue IRBs. We're kind of calling it a master ROI. There's two types of IRBs. There's the sales tax exemption, which is no sales tax on construction materials. The second one is a property tax abatement. We are not talking about a property tax abatement. We are talking about a sales tax exemption, which is effectively the city assigns, or I guess lends our sales tax exemption to the developer to purchase their construction materials for their development. IRB cost, there are many costs in the IRB process. All of those are paid by the developer. You can see the variety of them, including the bond counsel fees, origination fees, and our annual administrative fee, all comes out of their cost. Security for payment, there's no guarantee from the city for any payment of the bonds. When we get to this point, and again, we're not approving them tonight, this is just a resolution of intent. This is from statute, bonds shall not be in any respect be a general obligation of such city or county, nor shall they be payable in any manner of taxation. So we have very, very limited risk, if any at all, in having to pay back IRBs. Again, IRBs are, we've done several of those in the last couple of years. So for specifics, Merriam Town Center IRBs, these are going to be taxable bonds that are made in one or more series. And I'll explain that in a second, why it's one or more. Provides sales tax exemption on construction materials. The aggregate amount of all of those developments is a not to exceed amount of $32 million. Again, that assumes that all of those projects are completed. This is what we're calling a master resolution of intent. What that means is that the individual projects have to come back and get a supplemental resolution. So each individual project that's going to access IRBs or would like to request IRBs needs to come back. So this is simply council's telegraphing that we will consider IRBs when the time comes for IRBs. But it is a master resolution.
just to head off anybody who might be easily confused, the 32 million is the construction costs, and the 1% will be, or the IRB will be the sales tax portion of 32 million.
Correct.
We're not giving 32 million,
Correct.
as some people might claim.
We're not giving anything. We are
Yeah.
allowing them to not pay sales tax at the point of sales. That saves them money. So
Yes.
we don't generate that money. That money does not exist yet. But it would only be 3 million of the 32. Correct. Any questions about the IRBs? The last motion, or last item to consider would be the creation of a CID fund for budgeting purposes, a resolution establishing a CID fund. Effectively, we just approved one of these about a year ago for our CID up at Marketplace. It just basically gives us a transparent and auditable place for all of these revenues to come in, all these expenditures to outflow, and is just a management best practice for budgeting. There's not much more to say other than that. Any questions about the CID fund?
Questions that one? No questions that one? Nope, doesn't look like it.
Okay, well, we are to the point of question or discussion before we go into the public hearing. I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, we've got Jacob Lowry with Kutek Rock. We've got the developers and their attorney here. If there are questions, hopefully someone here can answer them.
Any questions from the council for any of those individuals? Go ahead, Ms. Haynes.
Because this can last up to 22 years, how could we get out of it if we wanted to get out of it?
I would need a better definition of if we wanted to get out of it. If there's a default, the city would have the opportunity to either initiate some sort of city project or reimburse itself for a city project, or we could just shut the CID down effective when the developer has been paid off.
But that is something that would come back to us to
Yeah, the council would
to
have, yes,
determine.
yeah. With default, we would have to come back to the council because we would have to calculate how much money is still owed the developer. We would have to calculate kind of the projections of how much money is being generated so we could say, okay, hey, they've decided we've either default or they've decided, hey, we're
No
good,
more.
we're done, no more. And we still owe them $1.5 million. It's generating $500,000 a year. We're going to come back in probably 3 years and shut this thing down, but we are not adding any more projects because a default event has occurred.
Okay, so there's no automatic.
At 22 years, it'll shut down.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, if you approve it for 22 years, it'll shut down then. Well, that would be the only way it would automatically shut down. We would need to shut it down if it's going to happen prior to then, and we would kind of, again, pace that out with the inflows and the outflows so
Right.
that we match those things up.
Thank you.
But once the projects that have been part of the, are complete and paid for, we wouldn't be reimbursing any more funds.
Correct.
So
Yes.
If we didn't shut it down, it would just have money accumulating with no place to go.
That is exactly why we want to try to land those two things together. Like I talk about spinning plates. We would want those plates to be crashing at the same time because we do not want to accrue a balance in there that is not obligated.
Go ahead, Mr. Veda.
You get ready to ask a question. Okay, sorry. So if we, as part of the CID reimbursement, is there any obligation for this grocery store to stay open a certain amount of time outside of a standard lease agreement? They could always get out of the lease agreement.
Not that we have any strings attached to.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Kuzma.
I don't necessarily have a question, but I just think this is a really great get. And I think for a city that's been wanting a grocery store for a long time, we've got two really great options that I think is going to serve, I think both together are going to serve every single member of our community.
Yeah, I agree. At the staff level, we've talked about that a lot. We feel like these are complementary uses. We felt like you've got kind of a regional destination specialty store, and then you've got a good old neighborhood grocery store.
Okay, Mr. Silvers, go ahead.
Just for clarification, because I think there was confusion when the announcement of Trader Joe's came to us, who brought Trader Joe's to our city, and that was the developer. Based on council goals and discussions the city has had with this developer, I assume that the developer was the one who initiated talks with Aldi, developed a relationship with Aldi, and they're the ones that came to us and said they wanted to bring a grocery store.
Yeah, we had shared with them that a grocery store was a community priority, but we didn't reach out to any specific one. That was a relationship that sounds like they opened several stores with Aldi already. But yes, they brought Aldi to us.
Great, thank you, I appreciate it.
But they recognized it was something that was a priority to the community. So again, I think we should acknowledge that also.
Oh, sorry, not to beat this to death, but also like that's something that I'm sure they've been working on since 2022 when they purchased this center. So I think that's awesome that we had some momentum and we were able to get two grocery stores hopefully within a year of each other, right? Like that's huge for our community, especially with being right off of the highway too. So thanks.
Any other questions, Mr. Engel? Okay, I see no other questions.
So our next item is going to be our public hearing. So we will open the public hearing, take public comment, and then we will close the public hearing, and I will be
Answer questions.
I will be back then.
Okay. Well, we will open the public hearing. Is there any individual out there that would like to come forward? Come forward, sir. Your name and address for the record.
Me again. I'm speaking tonight to strongly oppose the creation of the Merriam Town Center Community Improvement District and this development agreement. Through their standard commercial rent, R.H. Johnson already has the ability to fund the development of their own private property. What we are looking at tonight is classic corporate welfare, but it is also a direct reflection of who funds our local leadership. According to public campaign finance records, the benefactor of tonight's proposed giveaway, Merriam Center 1, LLC, aka R.H. Johnson, who owns and operates Merriam Town Center, happens to be the mayor's second largest campaign sponsor, accounting for 16% of Bob's total contributions. It's also troubling that Merriam Town Center was the first district in our city to bring warrantless flock brand spy cameras to our city, journaling the movement of every innocent person to drive through there, and systemically and eagerly making that data available to ICE, also without a court order. This is a deeply concerning pattern. Mayor Pape's absolute largest campaign sponsor, Drake Development, which funded 40% of his recent campaign, walked away with $100 million in publicly funded benefits for MGS during Bob's first term, and now it appears to be Merriam Center 1's turn to collect. True economic stability does not mean using public-backed 1% CID sales taxes and IRB tax evasion to subsidize the basic business upgrades of your top political donors, Bob. Our independent local small businesses grow without multi-million-dollar giveaways of tax money in historic downtown Merriam. I urge this council to stop filtering public revenue into corporate pockets. Look closely at these campaign connections and vote no on this agreement. Thank you. And also thank you, Stacy, for pointing out, just like with Trader Joe's, there's no protection against Aldi closing shop a year later and Bob's donor keeping the tax money. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to come forward at this time? Okay, I see no one else coming forward to the podium. Mr. Engel, do you want to wrap this up? Close out the meeting? All right, I'll close out the meeting and then we'll have Mr. Engel finish with final comments.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Real quick, close out the public hearing, not the meeting, please.
Oh, excuse me.
You said meeting.
Correction, I would mean the public meeting, not
Public
public
hearing.
hearing. Excuse me, public hearing, not the public meeting. Thank you. Thank you for the correction, sir.
This is the last opportunity for questions before we roll the votes or council discussion, if I can help.
Any other questions for Mr. Engel? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Leahy.
Not a question.
Excuse me, Mr. Caldwell.
It's a comment. We're basically renovating buildings with a CID that were built with a TIF. That seems like a little much to me. I question how much this is going to be as an investment for the city. You know, when the end of the incentive period is here, with the exception of the new construction of the buildings, what will we have in our tax base? We'll have a 20-some-year-old renovated shop, or now a 40-year-old, but 20 years since the last renovations. You know, we set a really high bar for creating a CID district, and I'm not sure this one gets there. The other concern is there's some risk involved here. Do we know that the market will support 2 grocery stores? You know, we're incentivizing a second grocery store when the first one we created incentives for hasn't even opened yet. So that doesn't seem prudent to me. So those are my concerns.
Any other questions for Mr. Engel or concerns, if you'd like to address this time? Okay, I see none, I guess, Mr. Engel.
Yep.
So I guess we will
If there-
move forward with motions.
If there are no other questions for the votes, we will roll the votes. Your first vote will be approval of the development agreement. To approve this agreement, says that the terms of the development agreement are agreeable to the council.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion for that. Go ahead, Ms. Shadridge.
Before I do the motion, is it Merriam Center 1?
Yes.
That's how it's pronounced. Okay. Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve a development agreement between the City of Merriam and Merriam Center 1 LLC, which grants certain incentives relating to the Merriam Town Center development, including the approval of all exhibits attached to the development agreement, which are either final or substantially final form, and for those in substantially final form, approve the finalization of such documents by the city administrator on behalf of the city council.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? Go ahead, Ms. Haynes.
I'd like to second that.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second.
Councilmember Kosmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
No.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-1.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Second vote will be on the Community Improvement District. This is approving an ordinance adopting the Community Improvement District. Staff is recommending that you waive the customary first reading of the ordinance. So there will be 2 votes. First vote would be to waive the first reading. Again, normally we have a customary first reading to inform the public that we're going to be considering an ordinance. We have a public hearing tonight, so it kind of defeats the purpose of doing the first reading when we have a public hearing. So happy to answer any questions about that. Otherwise,
Any questions for Mr. Engel before I ask for the vote? Go ahead, Mr. Kozmeyer.
I know in the past when we've waived the first readings of similar ordinances, it's because we've had, timeline concerns. Are there timeline concerns that would put the project at risk if we waited an extra meeting?
well, if we don't approve this one, then we don't go to the next.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, the point of waiving them is so we can approve them all in one evening. I mean, I can't speak for if there's development delay, but it is so we can approve the package all at once. We can get all of this to the legal record and the director of taxation, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, that's
Director of taxation.
yeah, one of the big things is gets, I believe the Kansas Federal Revenue does their
Department of
taxation.
Revenue, yeah.
Yeah, it does it on a quarterly basis, so we are under, we miss this timeline, we will miss revenues.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question? Go ahead, Mr.
We'll
Lyon.
add that we had a special council session to notice this public hearing for tonight. So I think this has been on people's radar for a while.
It has. Or should be.
Thank you for bringing that up. Any other questions? Okay, I would call for a vote for the waiving. Oh, excuse me, motion. Yes, I'll call for a motion for us to vote on, but go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council waive the customary first reading of an ordinance establishing the Merriam Town Center CID.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Go ahead, Ms. Shveta.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kozmeyer.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, we'll just move on to the next item. Make a motion.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead. Do you have anything to say before we move on?
No, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to move to the next,
No,
next vote.
okay. All right, go ahead, Ms. Yodrich.
All right. Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve an ordinance establishing the Merriam Town Center CID and set forth the boundaries thereof, authorize a community improvement district project related thereto, approve the estimated cost of such community improvement district project, and approve the method of financing the same, all in accordance with the Kansas statutes.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? This way. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Ms. Shveta.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Caldwell.
No.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kozmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-1.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, Mr. Engel, do you want to mention anything on this one?
Next item is industrial revenue bonds.
Okay, we're ready to move on. I would entertain a motion, Ms. Yodrich.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve a resolution of intent to issue federally taxable private activity revenue bonds, industrial revenue bonds, in one or more series in the maximum aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $32 million.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? Ms. Shveta.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kozmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, you want to keep rolling?
New CID fund.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion with the CID fund.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve a resolution establishing a new CID fund.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Ms. Yodrich.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Ms. Shavetta.
Shavetta.
Oh, so, oh, gosh, I am just struggling to see Ms. Yodrich, but I didn't get your name out because you started before me last time, so, yeah. Ms. Shavetta, second that, please.
Mr. Mayor, second. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kosmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Lighthay.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, next item up, I'd entertain a motion. Ms. Yadrich.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve a, no, wait,
We're done on that.
we're done.
No, we're done.
Yeah.
Submit, never mind.
Next steps.
Next steps.
Mr. Mayor, I approve next steps.
No, hold up, Ms. Yadrich. Okay. Mr. Engel, please go forward.
Next steps, tomorrow we'll send the ordinance to Kansas Director of Taxation. June 30th, the CID ordinance will be published in the legal record. Then we'll record the ordinance with the Johnson County Register of Deeds. CID sales tax collections would have been on the first. Date to be determined on when the next supplemental resolution of intent on the IRBs. It's going to depend on where they're at when they decide to proceed and if they want to use them on that particular project. But these are your next steps. Happy to answer any final questions before I vacate the podium.
Yeah. Any final questions? Okay. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I have one more question. What's the timeline on the grocery store?
The grocery store, Brian, is in for permits, and has they picked it up yet, or is it went through the process?
We are reviewing the permit. They still need to identify their contractors for it, so.
I think it's our understanding they're out for, either out or getting ready to go out for bid, so it should be fairly quickly
Great, thank you.
in-house, but they're pretty diligent in getting things into the ground. At one
What's-
point, they hope to open as soon as they can, so.
Yeah, the construction timeline, I'm assuming, is fairly minimal, but,
Yeah, that's to be determined, I
right,
guess, because
they have a
haven't got-
contractor, yeah. Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Can I make a comment on that really quick?
Yes.
Because
go
we
ahead.
don't have a covenant to open, I would appreciate if the council could get like regular status updates on how that's proceeding. I want to make sure that we're ahead or at least even in the game on that project.
And we'll be watching it closely also, so.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Oh, go ahead, Ms. Hands.
I'd just like to say that I really appreciate the diligence that you all have done on both sides and all of the different inputs that have happened over many years. So thank you for keeping at it.
Good. We're glad to be here, and we're really proud of the property, and we're going to continue to work it hard. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay. Okay, Mr. Engel, who's handling the next one? Is it? Okay. Okay. Go ahead. All right.
Ready
Thank you
for
for coming forward.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. So in front of you is to establish an economic development fund. This is primarily for accounting purposes, again, just like the CID that you just established. The revenues that we envision to go in here, and the whole reason for this creation is that most of the development agreements that come before you include some sort of an admin fee. So one of the ones that we were just looking at is $30,000 every year, and then it also increases by 3% every year. So that's a good chunk of change. Staff is envisioning setting that money aside because it's not ever part of any budgets that we build for the projects, for anything that goes on within the fund it's already in. So we could set aside that money for you to potentially do whatever you'd like once it gets built up to a substantial amount. It could be economic development related. There would be no major stipulations on this fund. It would be called economic development just because that's where the funds are coming from. But there would be no stipulations on what you could spend it on at this point, unless you would like to set that. So not to spend the money, it's just to set up a fund, so you could if you'd like to.
And
Go ahead. Questions for Director Moore?
yes, so earlier discussion I had with Mr. Engel, this is not a funded fund. This is an empty fund.
Correct, yes, ma'am. It would be just an empty house, and then we would fill it as you saw fit, and then you could empty it as you saw fit.
Yay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Kuzma.
Up until this fund is created, where do those admin fees go?
They're currently sitting in your TIF-B fund or CIP. All right now are in TIF-B, but they could be in either depending on what the development agreement, where it's housed. So they're mixed in with a lot of money right now.
Any other questions, Dr. Porth? Okay, I see none, all right. Well, at this point then, I would entertain a motion if we want to move forward with that, Ms. Chandridge.
Okay, now we can do this.
Now we do that.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve a resolution establishing a new economic development fund.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second? Ms. Shveta?
Mr. Mayor, a second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion, second.
Councilmember Silvers,
Aye.
Councilmember Yodridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta,
Aye.
Councilmember Kosemeyer,
Aye.
Councilmember Hands,
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell,
Aye.
Councilmember Lahey,
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Looks like we've got you up for the next one as well. Go ahead.
Yes, so it's my pleasure to present the 2027 proposed budget for you this evening. We're going to walk through an overview of what's actually in the proposal, and then we'll talk about the mill levy that we would need in order to achieve that. The purpose of tonight, the state says that you must set your intention, now that we have our revenue neutral rate back from the county, with whether or not you want to go with that number or you want to exceed it. It is not you voting with what you actually want to do, it's just what your intent is, so we can call a public hearing. So we'll do that at the end. If you have any questions at any point, please feel free to stop me, or we can go over them at the end. So before even going into the budget, we had a few major pressures on us, different things we had to meet. The first couple up there are that we had two major losses in revenue to the general fund. The first one being the courthouse sales tax, which expired. We only budgeted $380,000 in revenue each year. That usually achieved a little over $400,000. So that was an automatic loss for 2027. And then we also lost the JAG grant. These funds may potentially be there, but right now the grant itself is uncertain. So it's not that we, the city, lost it. It's that the grant may not be funded moving forward. That is what funds part of our co-responder program. So in order to keep the co-responder program going, we would lose that $35,000 and supplement it with another piece of revenue.
And,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I think I know what JAG means, but where does that money come from?
It comes from the state.
That it may not come from?
What?
It's federal.
Do you know what JAG stands for?
Justice.
I'm so sorry. I've only ever
Okay.
seen JAG. I can get that to you, though.
It's
Yes.
fine. I
Please.
just want to make sure we all know it's federal.
Yes.
And will you copy the council when you
Happy
email
to do that.
Thank you.
Yes. We specifically use it for our co-responder program, though. This is also an election year. Another major thing we'll go over later is just that the transient guest tax revenues are not keeping up with expenditures, so we had to make some adjustments for that. And then personnel is set at our typical that is brought to you every year, so it's about 5% for cost of living and merit adjustments, and then we budget 8% for health insurance. We believe it might be slightly under that, but we won't know for sure until September.
Go ahead, Ms. Leahy.
Real quick on the transient guest tax fund, is that trending back up to catch up to where we expected it to have been?
Not where I expected it to be. It's about half of what we budgeted, but it is trending slightly back up. Unfortunately, that at least the one hotel that I'm aware of is still not paying. So I've just adjusted my expectations, and we're now meeting them. So,
Thanks.
yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Real quick before you leave that, the very quick meter broke on myself. Google says it is the Justice Assistance Grant.
Justice Assistance Grant.
It is a federal
Thank
grant.
you. Yes, it's from the feds, and then the state gives us the money. So,
And
Go ahead.
I'm just surprised that we haven't also noted in here that the fluctuating energy costs, but I would think that would be causing a little bit of consternation as well.
slight, yes, not as substantial of like a new program. I tried to really focus on like the major shifts versus just inflation or the economy, yes. The major priority for expenditures for us is to keep programs and service levels where you and the public expect them. But then we also always try and hit whatever council goals we can. So these were all of the ones that had been brought to my attention or brought to other staff's attention that we were able to put into the budget. One of the largest ones was that the property tax rebate grant has been really utilized this past year in 2026. So we did increase that just to cover it, to inflate as people seem to be using that grant. So this is an overview of the general fund. We'll walk through each side. The one thing I will say is that we are overexpending revenues this year, but it's primarily to keep our fund balance in line with policy, which is 30 to 35% of reserves. So if we're comfortable going over 35%, I could cut back on transfers, but the transfers built in are what are needed to go to the CIP and the equipment reserve, which we'll get into later. So at this point, we are overspending revenues, but we still maintain our policy for fund balance, and we initiate the transfers that we need to. So here is a more detailed breakdown of those revenues. You will see that we have that sales and use tax. This is where the courthouse tax is coming out of, so that's why we have a major hit there. Everything else is looking pretty great. We did have a big increase in some of the smaller grants. The CIP grants, which we'll get into later, are also a large increase. So here's just a breakdown. Again, sales and use tax is our highest revenue source at this point. And then I broke out the property taxes in case you were curious of how much comes from what. Okay, the one thing I want to point out from here, the 2025 numbers are unaudited. They came in primarily the community center, which is going to be there in pink, and the other section, which is going to be like your franchise fees, your court, not franchise fees, your court and other small different revenue sources are all grouped into orange. That especially came in higher than budgeted. So this graph looks a little skewed, and it's because 26 and 27 are budget, they are not projected. So I anticipate that 26 will be slightly higher once we start to get closer to projected and actuals. So we're not trending down or lateral, it's just the difference in an actual versus a budget, a conservative budget. And then we move on to expenditures. As you can see, we stayed at about 5% across the board. The primary increase is going to be for personnel when it comes to a pure dollar amount for what the increase was. And then we did have again, like you said, some of the increase in like our contracts or our utilities, all of those, but there are no major service or programs that have been put into this. This is simply to mostly maintain status quo and all of our current contracts. Okay, so moving on to another fund. This is our bond and interest fund, where this is just what we pay our debt out of. You'll see the transfers in the million. So currently our bond proceeds are housed in CIP, and then they are moved over to this fund to get paid. So that $1 million is because we don't actually have any principal payments yet. We're just paying interest on the bonds to the state. And so I don't have an actual amount, but it was a little under $1 million for 25 and 26. So that's what we've also budgeted for 27. We don't start paying principal for a few more years. So transient guest tax is one that we should talk about. You will see that for your expenditures, they went down by about $250,000. This is because we had to match revenues. The fund was bleeding a little bit. If you look at the actuals, the revenues versus the expenditures for 2025, that is where if we did not make a shift with our expenses, we were going to start seeing that every year unless we have a new hotel come in. 2025, the one hotel that I've talked with you about did not pay for the entire year. I do not foresee them paying in the future, even with the state working with them. So my revenue assumptions are that they are not there and that no one is there. It's just a conservative approach. We would like to think that someone would come in if they were to leave or that they would start paying eventually, but it got us into a little bit of a kerfuffle for 2025 to have the different budget than what actually brought in. Unfortunately, we did not know this for the 2026 budget because this was a year ago. So for 2027 budget, like I said, we are seeing a little bit more transient guest tax coming in as people seem to be paying what they're supposed to be paying after we've had the state kind of talk with all of them. So that did increase, but everything else stays pretty similar. What we had to do for expenses is move out some of your personnel. So the only personnel that remains in here is going to be the Visitors Bureau personnel. We also had Parks and Rec event staff in here. And then we had half of the communications team, one person in here. So that was helping with those events. So those were moved out and they were moved to the general fund. That was a pretty substantial hit to the general fund because you can see it's about that $250,000. So that was again another pressure that the general fund had to take. But for us to maintain the current events that everyone is used to, those are put on and funded for out of the transient guest tax fund. We still had to keep those personnel. We just had to shift them. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Can you explain how one of the hotels can just not pay?
Yes, so this is something that we have talked about. It's because we are not the administrators on it. So the way the state of Kansas is set up, it's different than Missouri. The state is the administrator. They're the ones that collect the money and then they distribute it. So we're not even allowed to go after the hotel for not paying. It's not technically our money. The state has to do it.
Then I guess maybe my question is more for the state on how they're actually collecting that money.
They assumed the hotel had closed down and they didn't even know that they were missing the revenue.
Oh,
Yes, until we made them aware of it. So now they have talked to and they're looking at all of our hotels.
okay.
So,
And our local representatives are aware that that's going on. Okay.
I would also add that hotel has never paid property tax
since they acquired the
since they
property,
acquired it in 2023.
which we also made the county aware
They
of.
haven't paid property tax or transient guest tax. They've
Is
paid
this a-
$0. They've collected it on our behalf and haven't paid it.
A larger conversation we need to have in the future, maybe about this then? Because we've not gone after, but we've had larger discussions about not providing incentives and things like that for people who don't pay their property taxes.
Yes, ma'am.
Or LLCs that don't pay their property taxes, excuse me.
Yes. Yeah, we were trying to let the state finish through with their process because I already have letters from the county on their process is complete, saying they haven't paid property tax. So I was trying to let the state kind of work through their process and get something formally in writing before coming to you, but we can start that whenever you would like. I don't know how long the state will take at this point.
Okay. It would be nice to just have like a summary of the information in this situation and what's going on for the council, I think.
Yes, happy to.
Go ahead, Mr. Silvers. Your question.
So I think you clarified in my first question, which was you said that they didn't pay for the first 6 months of this year. Are they paying now?
No.
Or they're not paying now?
I'm so sorry. They have not paid since
2023.
2024.
Oh, 2024.
Yes, sir.
Also, my next question is, does the city of Merriam issue their business license?
Yes, and that's something we've been working with council on to figure out. We believe council has the ability to revoke that. It just says that you need letters from the state and the county saying that they're delinquent, essentially. And so that's why I was waiting to get that. But we think you could probably move forward with just the property tax one. So it would just be what council's comfortable with. We were trying to do due process and really hit the ordinance so that you would feel comfortable. But if we can, I'll get you all the information and you guys can make that decision.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
But yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So at this time, the transient guest tax is balanced, making those changes. My hope would be that they would start paying, whether state intervention or if a new owner purchases it and they choose to be compliant, and then we could look at transferring those expenses back in, take some off of the general fund, but. Equipment reserve is funded by general fund transfers, so this is one of those that I told you we transfer in every year along with CIP. We are going to use a little bit of fund balance this year because again, the general fund just had so much of a hit that we did not want to bring increasing the mill levy to you. So $800,000, we feel comfortable being the revenues with $700,000 of that being the transfer in, primarily because this has such a healthy fund balance. And then next year we'll look at fully funding again. Then we're on to the CIP, which you've already seen all the projects and walked through all of them. We're happy to talk about them again if you would like. But this is just breaking down all the numbers for the plan that you saw. It also explains a little bit about the revenues, which, again, you saw most of those, but this is how it's built into the budget. There is that $1 million transfer out for debt payment. I will say our fund balance is still very, this is a heavy year. 2027 is going to be a very heavy year, and we've had a few heavy years of projects, but they've all been planned. And then the next couple of years are a little bit lighter. So even after a 5 and a 10-year look forecasting, we feel perfectly comfortable with where fund balances would be. So. Then this is your TIF B fund that you asked where those admin fees sit. This is currently where they are. So you'll see that $30,000 in 2025. That was 1 year, and then we have $30,000 plus 3% every year after. It wasn't budgeted for in 2026, and it's sitting in that TIF property tax for 2027. So it's part of it, just not broken out yet. There's no major changes to this. It's based on the different agreements that we have and the projects that are going on. So that is all of the budget presentation piece that I have. Now we'll move into what the property tax rate needs to be in order to achieve that. In my opinion, if you would like to do a different number, it's totally your prerogative. And again, you don't need to vote on the specific mill rate tonight. So this is just some terminology, just a refresher. As some people may wonder how their property taxes are calculated, this is based on the average market value. It shows you the calculation. So for the average home in Merriam, the property tax per month is going to be about $84. Here in a little bit, we'll talk about the revenue neutral rate. If we were to go with that rate, it would be $81. So it's a difference of about $3 on the average home if you were to go with revenue neutral over our current and our proposed mill rate of 26.412. For the general public, this is where their property taxes go. Merriam receives about 24% of what they pay on their bill. Here's growth and assessed valuation based on the county's numbers. You'll see that we had a large jump in residential, and then commercial seems to be staying stagnant. We're not sure. They're looking into that. I believe it's coming from, there are a few appeals going on right now, so those numbers may not be final yet, and they may work through it in the year, but as of right now, it has went down. We also tore down a few buildings that I think would have been part of that, so that could be it, but we're looking at getting a detail of that too. So here's that revenue neutral rate. In your packet was also the sheet from the county. It's their formal way of telling us what the revenue neutral rate is. It's all these numbers essentially broken out into like a complicated form that they fill out. But the revenue neutral rate would be 25.445 mils. The way we get to that is by it's basically the exact same amount of property tax revenue as the current year that we're in. The difference is that $300,000 amount. So if the difference from the revenue neutral rate to the proposed rate is $300,000. I will say that if council wanted to go with the revenue neutral rate, which is your prerogative, we would be looking at either, because we've had so many other pressures on the general fund this year, we would be looking at either cutting services or lowering again those transfers to the other funds, which rely on the transfer. So potentially a hit to equipment that we need to replace, or potentially a hit to CIP projects in the future. So just something to keep in mind, but obviously it's your prerogative. And that $300,000 would be the difference in revenue. We're aware that it's a council goal, which is why we lowered it by over a quarter last year. Unfortunately, it's not staff's recommendation for this year just because of those pressures I talked about. I definitely think it's something that was staff's goal as well, to lower it as much as possible. But we already reduced. We went line by line this year, which is what I did as well last year since it was my first year, but line by line, and had a meeting with every department trying to figure out where we could cut. And so what's in front of you is already very conservative, and it's already pulled back by every department. So I, at this time, would not feel comfortable going any lower, but and you might wonder how our rate compares. So this is the proposed in the budget. All of these numbers are going to be for 2026, except for the 2027 proposed by us, just because we're kind of ahead of the game. Most cities haven't even started doing this meeting just yet. So once we have official 2027 numbers, all the cities are having these discussions and figuring out what their intent and what their mill rate might look like. We can bring you back a 2027 one as well. And I will say, if we were to go with the revenue neutral rate at this current time, our status amongst our peers would not change. We would stay in the same position. So what is next? So like I said, state statute requires you to say what your intent is. This is so that we can publish the public hearing. So you have two options, according to them. You can either say you're not going to exceed the revenue neutral rate, which again, we would lose about $300,000, which we can figure out and bring you options. The second option, which is the one that staff is recommending, is going to be to exceed the revenue neutral rate. It would not be increasing the mill rate. It would just be increasing the amount of revenue we receive from it. So if you were to go staff recommendation, you would go with the second bunch. I would have a full budget summary ready for you in about a month, potentially sooner. And then we would have our public hearing as required towards the end of August. And that is where you would decide the actual mill rate based on the full packet that I gave you. If you choose to right now say you're not going to exceed the revenue neutral rate, you cannot then exceed it later. So it's important to understand that just by saying our intent is to exceed, you can still go with the revenue neutral rate or lower later, but you can't do the opposite. That is all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Director Borth? Oh, go ahead, Mr. Silvers.
I don't have a question. The last part of your presentation was a blur to me because I am just dumbfounded and appalled that the state didn't notice that this business was not paying their taxes.
Correct.
And how it affects us as a city and the residents in our city. I just had to say that. Like, I think it's a complete shame.
Yes. Yeah. Once we realized it, we also asked, our representative came in person and met with me and then introduced herself to the rest of the staff. And she's meeting with they're looking now at every hotel just because they apparently don't do that routinely.
So would that be Representative Owsley or Representative Petty or Representative which one?
This one is on the operations side. So our representative, within their team.
That makes more
yes.
sense. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, not like a representative elected.
Okay.
Kansas Department of Revenue. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Director Morris? Oh, go ahead, Ms.
Are
Kuzma.
we expecting to receive those back taxes? Or rather, I guess that's, who knows?
If
but
they pay.
Potentially, we could receive those back taxes.
Yeah, my
That money
experience is that
exists.
they don't typically pay them.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So, but what would ultimately happen if there's enforcement action, whether it's on transient guest or on property taxes, is effectively they place a lien on the property, and then when it turns over, that's when you get your revenues, if it turns over.
Good, Ms. Leahy.
Sorry to make this all about transient guest tax. But the hotels in question have collected those taxes in our name
Correct.
and are just pocketing it right now.
Yeah, it's on the bottom of the statement that every guest receives, yes.
Ms. Haynes.
And they're still doing business.
To this day.
Yeah, I like the idea of revoking their certificate of occupancy and shutting them down,
Perfect.
personally.
Okay. Well, I will bring that. We'll send you everything I have.
Can we do that, Mr. Dake? I say that, but
Yeah, it's harsh
Yeah, I
words,
mean,
but we
it's-
need to follow up on this.
Like we pull their business license, and then what do we do? I mean, they clearly are
Still,
thumbing
right.
their nose at paying their taxes. I mean, we can cite them in municipal court. What good's that gonna do? They're not gonna pay that either.
Well, if we pull their business license, they can't get revenue anymore, right? They have to shut
They're
down.
just gonna keep
keep doing
operating.
business. Okay.
We don't have a SWAT team where we're gonna go in and,
You're right, we don't. we
I
don't.
mean,
There's still time to put in the budget.
that's not what's
We
gonna
don't even have
happen.
a dog, Chris. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
But we will,
Public
we'll
Center.
bring you, we have already done all the research, so I'm happy to share it. We were just waiting, the ordinance says that you need proof that they are in bad standing with other entities, and so I was trying to get all the proof that you would need to move forward before we brought it to you, but we'll get it to you anyways.
Go ahead, yeah, Ms. Shveta, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing the due diligence and
Yeah.
having the proof before, but I think we're all really stuck on this because, and we are all really stuck on this because, yeah, that's just, yeah, it's a bad partner. Yeah.
Go ahead, Ms. Leahy.
I just want to add that I thank you for doing all the research, and I understand wanting to wait and hear from the state and having all of our ducks in a row and having everything we need ready. As part of that, can you maybe just ping the state and see what their timeline is so
Yes.
we can weigh that against some of our decision?
Happy to.
Thank you.
And if, if you want a more detailed process and enforcement options, I'd probably recommend we do that in an executive session, because I've written multiple emails on this subject, and I don't really want to show these people our playbook, so.
Makes sense. Go ahead, Ms. Connell.
Yeah, if we can move on from revenue neutral or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Years ago, before the state took us through this revenue neutral rate thing, we used to compare ourselves to the last year's revenue, property tax, plus new construction, plus some sort of adjustment for inflation. And that got us to this year's, the budget year. And you've already done that.
Well, I heard that you have asked in recent years.
Thank you.
Bruce is good for 2 questions a year that we all know are coming.
Just in case.
This one and diversity in law enforcement.
I
It's
wasn't
not a
going to
dig.
say I'll get back
I was
with
gonna
you.
say.
I wasn't going to say I'll get back with you. I wanted to have it just in case you were curious. It would
Yeah.
be higher.
Okay, now you have to tell me if this is good or bad.
Yes, so this is bad. So I'll walk you through it. I have copies if anyone in the public would like to see it. So the revenue neutral rate is what you just said. It's the revenue generated. Then we did the new construction, which comes from the county's number. So if it was just new construction added in, and then inflation, which was 8.1% for us, that shows you what the total be, that 27.9 number. So that is what our mill rate would be with that calculation compared to what I'm proposing, which is the 26.412. So it would actually be higher. Is that?
So that would tell me that we are managing to some increase rate that's less than inflation.
Correct, by almost $500,000.
Thank you.
Good job.
And you'll be sure and send this to
Yes.
all of us.
Yep,
Thank
I'll
you.
give it to Julie as well.
All right. Any other questions, Director Borth?
I just want to say thank you, Megan. I appreciate you taking
Yes.
that from all of us, all of our questions.
The rest of the budget looks great. Not the transient guest tax, but the rest of the budget is that we are in great condition.
Do you have anything
I
else
will
for
take
us?
a vote. I do not, I will take a vote if you don't mind, just so I can
On the
send it to
revenue.
the state if you're comfortable.
Okay. I would entertain a motion. Go ahead, Ms. Shatters.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council authorize staff to notify Johnson County of the city's intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate and hold public hearings on August 24th on the matter.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Ms. Shveta.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kosemeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. It looks like next time up, we have our financial update.
Sorry,
Okay, you're
I wanted
back.
to talk tonight, I guess. So in front of you are going to be both April and May's finance reports. Both are looking right on track. I have nothing to report for either. We will get you back with you on the transient guest tax, which I should have to you, we'll say by the end of the week. I already have everything prepared. So, but if there's any questions on the reports, I'm happy to go through them.
Any questions?
Nothing outstanding, though.
Okay, I see no other questions. I guess you're done. Thank you. Looks like we had CIP update. All right. Director's coming forward.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The June CIP update is in your packet. I'm happy to answer any questions about any of the projects. I did want to mention the project that I know everyone's concerned about is the 75th Street Bridge Repair Project. Just a reminder that it is, even though we own half the bridge and we're paying half the cost, it is a project managed by Overland Park, so they are completely in control of the schedule. I emailed them late last week, and they said they're still on track for an opening at the end of the week. But as you know how construction goes, anything could change. But right now, they're counting on the opening June 26th. Also, Carter Avenue, it's currently fully closed from 67th to Carter Avenue. It was supposed to be open last week, but what's going on right now is that we had to have a full closure because we're putting in a new pipe across the street and we're regrading the road to move the low point from the Aristocrat driveway over, because with the low point there, there's a grade inlet and the trucks are driving over and breaking it. So that means that we're regrading, and we had to put in additional rock and 6 inches of asphalt. And what happened is that there is a Evergy duct bank and manhole, and it's rising well above the road, and they were supposed to adjust it last week, but with the storms, they've had to go out to western Kansas. So we're hoping to get that done this week, but we can't open it safely. When we do open it, it will be one-way northbound. So it won't be open completely, but it will be open one way. So just wanted to give everyone that update, and happy to answer any other questions about the projects.
Questions, Director Kumke?
I just want to clarify the date on the Carter Avenue. So the agenda item says through the week of June 15th. So we're so it'll be all the way through this week. It'll
Yeah.
also be closed.
Yes, when I wrote this, that was the plan.
Understood.
So
Okay,
yeah,
just making sure we
hopefully-
have the right dates.
Yes, but hopefully it will be open at the end of this week. But if they can't get out there due to more storms or their schedule, it'll be extended.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Hans.
So, because 67th Street is very popular right now, the project that's putting in utilities or whatever, do we have any status on that one? I know it doesn't belong to any city group, but.
Right, it's a fiber project. They're supposed to be done the end of this week, but that one's dragged on too. So
June 26th is a magical day.
hopefully, we'll either have a lot to celebrate or have to extend it another
Because
week.
it has been a nightmare.
It's been long.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Carter Avenue, so it'll only be open, hopefully, northbound next week. But what about southbound? When is it what's the projection on it?
I mean, it's probably close to the end of the project.
Which is the
Now
end of
they're
the summer?
moving probably the end of the summer.
Okay, and that's because of the pedestrian access point across the railroad is
Well,
why
it's hard to work on one
Right.
side of the road
Mhm.
and have room to do it, and
It's a
so
narrow-
it feels
yeah.
like it's safe,
Mhm.
safer to close one way. And we've worked with Aristocrat, and that really helps. That's not the only reason we're doing it, but that helps, route their trucks around. So we felt like that was the safest option.
Okay. And then, the 67th Street that keeps taking a lane down. That's in the right-of-way, so it's a right-of-way permit.
Yes,
It's
it's a
not-
utility company.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Any other questions, Director Kumke? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like next item up is single hauler update. I've got Ms. Guard coming to the podium. Wow. New and exciting news, I'm sure.
Yes, hello, good evening. In regards to our single hauler update, we have good news. GFL has given us our pickup schedule that will be posted in the fall edition of Highlights, additionally online. The pickups are Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Mondays, north of 55th Street, Tuesdays, 55th to Shawnee Mission Parkway, and Wednesdays, south of Shawnee Mission Parkway. So we will be getting that communication out to our residents as soon as we can. In addition to that, we're still coordinating the bin distribution and how that's going to look. It most likely will be the second half of October, but like I said, we're still coordinating that. We do, once we have all the details finalized, plan to send a direct mailer to every residence, just letting them know not only what their pickup day will be, but how they'll be receiving their bins and what they're supposed to be doing with their old bins. So that will be much later this fall before the November 1st start date, but I wanted to let you know we've still been working on it. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Silvers.
Since so many of our residents have already switched over to GFL, I'm sure that that's being taken into account with bin distribution. So if you already have your bin, you don't have to switch it out with a new one.
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner.
You might not be able to answer this, but why was 55th Street used as a demarc? Because that's going to split some neighborhoods.
I will get back to you.
Versus Johnson Drive. That's all I'm asking. Yeah.
Get back
Yeah.
with you.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Leahy.
Also, will the change in pickup schedule happen on November 1st? Are they working on rolling it out sooner?
Conveniently, November 1st is the start of a week, so it's a Monday. So
So they're waiting to, because like right now we're on Thursday, that switch to Monday will be when the contract officially starts?
yes,
Perfect, thanks.
we'll make sure to communicate that too. That's a good point.
Ms. Haynes?
I just want to say that at the block party, we had a lot of very positive feedback about this change. So, yay.
True. Questions? Mr. Silvers, are you getting ready to say
No,
something?
I just wanted to point out how you color coordinated your outfit with the GFL bins.
I think they're green. Aren't they green?
I think their recycle bin is.
Those are Merriam colors.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Ms. Guard? Okay. All right.
I just love talking about trash so much. All right, as far as our downtown master plan update, we are right in the middle of community engagement. We've reached over 200 people so far, which is very exciting. We participated at a number of pop-ups in events that we've already been hosting, so we got a lot of good engagement there. Our first online survey is wrapping up. That'll be wrapped up this Wednesday, because on Thursday is our first public open house at the Merriam Community Center. Please, if you're able, please attend. And on Thursday will also be the second online engagement opportunity we'll kick off in kind of conjunction with the open house. We've already completed our first stakeholder meeting, or I'm sorry, our first steering committee meeting. We've had interviews with a number of stakeholders, and we're currently working on our statistically valid ETC survey that will be administered here within a month or so. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Questions for Ms. Gordon? Nope. Guess I see none. Thank you. All right. Well, informational items was Planning Commission minutes were in our packet. Unless somebody has any particular questions for Director Dyer on that. Seeing none. Okay. Well, Mr. Engel, got anything from staff?
I don't have anything, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Leahy.
I just want to point out that the wildflowers up at Antioch and Mariam Drive look great. They've really filled in. We talked about it looked a little scraggly to start, but all the yellow wildflowers looking great right now. So thank you for that.
I'll share that with the crews.
Any other questions for Mr. Engel? Okay, I see no other questions, and then there is no executive session this evening. Okay.
No, sir.
Well, getting down to number X, that's I would entertain a motion for adjournment. Mr. Vetta. Oh, gosh, Ms. Yadrich. I'm just, between you and Mr. Vetta,
We're different girls.
Yeah, Ms. Yadrich. Ms. Shredder's going to be next. I
Women.
know. I'm just waiting for her. I was a little
making
ahead of
sure.
myself.
All right, well, Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Yadrich. Oh my gosh. Mr. Kozmeyer.
Mr. Mayor, I'd second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
You know,